you are way smarter than AI. So many of the people that were laid off at Meta actually trained their replacement. When you live with addiction of AI or you lead with fear of AI, you would be at a disadvantage.
Give us a bit about future of work.
In the past, value used to be very straightforward.
Yeah.
You sell me a book, I pay you for a book. I can touch it, I can use it. It makes sense to everyone. But now, that's not what it is. Value has now become anything that meets a need. And what is interesting is that needs are now in a million places. One thing you should start getting is something that differentiates you from an AI. Judgment, context. AI doesn't have it.
Yeah.
Now, the reason why AI seems smarter than you is because it aggregates. So it collects the brain, the expertise, the skill of you and I, billions of people around the world. That is why it appears smarter.
What would be your honest recommendation for professionals navigating AI and, their careers right now?
Be very aware of what value means for your market, your space, your environment, wherever you find yourself. What does value mean? And become that person that can provide that value.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Kingly Podcast, a space where we have real, honest conversation on the subject of purpose, growth, creativity, innovation. And it's so good to be back in the studio today. And I must tell you, I have the honor of hosting somebody who is very dear to my heart. Let me put it that way. But first, I'm your host, Israel Toby Tomology, and welcome back to the studio. So I have someone in the studio. She's a force. She's a senior HR specialist, a coach, a speaker, an educator, and of course, an entrepreneur. I have in the studio, and she's a founder, a tech founder, a founder of Peoples. If you've heard the word, I've come across people before. She's the person I'm talking about. I have in the studio the Dami Fayanjuola. Welcome to the studio, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right. So in just a few seconds, I want to give us a bit of a detailed version of you. Who is Dami Fayanjuola?
Okay, you said seconds and then you said detailed.
Detail, yes.
Okay. Dami is a very dedicated person. I like to believe that I'm committed to living and giving a meaningful life in any space I find myself. Currently, I use the word currently because tomorrow we may meet and then I'm no longer doing that. But yeah, currently, by day, I work as a global HR professional. Yeah. So I'm in global hiring. And at night or every other time, I am an entrepreneur, building, coaching, literally exploring how to solve talent problem in Nigeria and across Africa. And that is what led me to build people. So that is who I would say I am. I'm at the very core of me, what I enjoy and I take joy in doing the most is coaching, teaching. I'd say I'm an educator at art. I'm a teacher at art. Unfortunately, when we were growing up, they didn't really give teachers a lot of good branding. So people don't call themselves that, but I'm proud to call myself one. That is what I love to do at the very core. So yeah, that's a summary of who I am.
Oh, that's well detailed, to be honest. All right, it's nice having you in the studio.
Thank you.
And like I mentioned, you're going to enjoy this conversation, to be honest. And I'm not just saying it because I'm your host. I'm saying it because of the person I have here. All right. Okay, so let's go into it. And we start on a very lighter note.
Okay.
There is something that sparked conversation in the internet a couple of weeks, I think about 3 weeks ago. A CEO, Tosin Eniolorunda, the CEO of Money Points, I'm going to quote as he said during an event when he was speaking. He said, "I used to feel Nigerians are really bright. We've had over 500 vacancies since 2024. I was still struggling to fill to find Nigerians to fill those roles, they don't meet global standards. I blame social media, Yahoo, and hookup culture. That's spark conversation. We have founders, we have employers, talents, people emotionally responded. People responded based on who they were, what they were facing, or what whatever they are doing, and all of that. So I want to hear from you as a global professional. You've worked with talents. You literally work with human because you're human human resource person, right? So I want to hear from you. Can you deconstruct that statement or that notion for
that
us?
Notion.
Yeah. Really.
Okay, this is not the first time first that someone is making such statements.
Yeah.
I think because it came from Tosin, it became maybe much more widespread than it usually was. I think sometime last year there was a conversation like this. And I was at that event and I didn't think that there would be an aftermath. I was at that event and I did hear him live. I heard what he was saying. Now, Tosin spoke from where he was standing.
Yeah.
And so is everyone else that had a thought about this, an opinion. You would always speak from where you're standing, always. So to deconstruct from where I stand, I work in global hiring, interestingly. So I can speak from data, I can speak from experience, I can speak from what is obtainable. There are things that he said that was right. And there are things that if you are speaking as a leader in the community and in the country, there is a different stance we expect, especially when you're speaking publicly. So I think that was why you'd see there was more of, amongst talent, it was more of an outrage. And you use the word that is correct, emotional. Many of the responses, especially from talent, were emotional responses. But again, can you blame talent? You can't. So this is what had happened. Tosin did mention the roles that they were trying to hire from, and they had good intentions. They wanted to hire from Nigerians because the company is native to the country and they wanted to do what was right. So that's good intention. Nobody's really praising that. Yes, it's something. That was good intention. I'm not sure what their hiring process is. I'm not an insider. I cannot speak to that. But people have said, and I do have examples of people who said they applied to MoneyPoint and they could not get, the role, and then they applied elsewhere and they got the role. I'm a very typical example of that.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's interesting. I'm not sure what the hiring process is. Again, I'm not sure what the standard is. But when we're talking talent and hiring, it must always be from two sides, two perspectives. Always. If you're looking for global talent with experience that match that level, you also are going to have to provide a global experience for the talent. So are you paying global standard? Are you giving them benefit of global standard? Do they have a work culture that is of global standard? Do they have all of those things that is of global standard? And then before we now talk about, is it talent? What also is the definition of a global standard talent? What is the definition of it? That is something that we've not quite agreed on.
Okay.
What does it mean? Do they deliver on outcomes? Do they move business forward? Also, I can understand when we're talking about, he later clarified himself and was talking about, this is senior pipeline. We're talking about senior professionals. That pipeline is what is really understaffed. And there are very, very, very few industries in Nigeria who produce senior talent.
Yeah.
Because you've got to have done the rep. What I mean is that you've got to have done the work, gotten business outcomes and results before you become a senior talent. It's not by number of years. No. It's by the results, the things you've done for your business. And there are very few industries who do that intentionally. So two sides. Let me conclude by saying two sides. If we are saying we are leaders and we're contributing to the talent pipeline of Africa or Nigeria, we have to speak from, we've got to build it instead of complaining about it. And the reasons he gave, I think that formed more outrage because there are professionals in Nigeria who are not doing hookup, who are not doing Yahoo, and still cannot find a job. Yeah. He ignored a very important fact that there is an underemployment and unemployment problem in the country. That has nothing to do with global level talent. That was massively ignored. it was not captured in his, because if you tell me, oh, the reason why I'm not getting a job is because I'm like, what are you saying? Do you understand? So that was, it made it, it kind of lowballed the point he was trying to make, because that point could have been made without, that. So we've got to talk two ways, as community leaders, as nation builders, owning a business like that, doing such impact, and knowing that you make most of your money from this community, you've got to position yourself as somebody that is contributing to the solution, building the talent. If you think they are not up to the level you want, you contribute to building it. And not maybe in that way express your disappointment. But again, yes, globally speaking, this is not a Nigerian problem. 63% of recruiters and employers say that they struggle to find qualified talent.
Oh.
Yes. So this is not even a localized problem. It's not a Nigerian problem. More than half of employers struggle to find qualified talent.
Yeah.
So we should not customize this problem as though it's a Nigerian problem. It's a job market, global talent challenge. So yes, we as a country, we have to be more intentional to building. Now you see it's taking steps in the right direction. Just a couple of days, they invested a couple of billions to, building around campuses. And that is a thing. That is what a leader does. And they've had initiatives in the past that does this. I wish he captured it when you were saying that we contributed to building. Maybe he would have gotten so much, backlash. But let me just wrap it up by saying it's two-way. The talent must contribute to be intentionally building, and also to have value to a business, while the employer must be ready to provide what global talent actually enjoy.
Yeah. Wow. That's really very detailed, to be honest. Thank you really for sharing that. And I think I like the way you balanced it by the responsibility of the employer.
Yeah.
Has to be there. You have to prove yourself as a leader. And I also felt he was a bit emotional to just pass some of those things.
It's painful. It costs a lot to hire. Imagine pumping that money and not getting what you need.
Really. I think it's very important to put that into consideration. And from the talent, because the talent, they responded by, like you said, we have some people that they went through that process of, getting hired, and eventually it didn't work out, and somewhere else it don't work out. There's maybe something is wrong in your process, right? So I think it's also like on the part of the employer to ensure they put the right structure, like you said, the values, the culture, and everything, because people are also watching that. Yeah, the talent, you know what to do based on what have been mentioned already. So I think everybody have to be civil as much as possible. That's a very good, solid foundation we are building, right? Okay, so I have another one here. And I think you made a post exactly a week ago about it, about Meta. Meta laid off 8,000 people in just a move, right? And to be honest, for me, and from one of the things you mentioned, that you're very sure that other big corporations like that are watching, and they're most likely making some moves about that. So for professionals, as a global professional working with talents in this space, every day, what do you think? What would be your honest recommendation for professionals navigating AI and, their careers right now?
It's a lot to unpack that topic. It's going to take a long conversation.
Just
maybe
give us
a masterclass.
an abridged version of it.
Okay, I'm going to give you foundation to what is really happening before one can really know how to navigate this mega trend. So AI, as with every other mega trend that affects the job market or industries at large, it's not, usually mega trends don't start overnight. They usually would start, it had been for several years.
Yeah.
But what is happening right now is becoming a mega trend because of adoption, many adopters, both big and small and large. Even you, every single individual has now adopted, AI in some way. You use Claude, you use ChatGPT, at least that's some form of adoption. So now, for the background of what happened with Meta. So Meta is one of the top corporations in the world, right? And they're doing a huge investment. They're making a bet. So that bet affected how they hire. They did lay off thousands of people. So many of the people that were laid off at Meta actually trained their replacement. That gives you one important point in preparing for the present and the near future, is that you are way smarter than AI. When you live with addiction of AI or you lead with fear of AI, you would be at a disadvantage. AI, my very first remote job was about collecting data for some of the, Meta was one of them. Meta was a client. We collected and annotated data because they needed to train one of their voice assistants, you know. There are many of them like that, one of their voice assistants. So that was the moment I realized, oh, this thing is going to come for us. So humans, that I led that project, humans were collecting data, would annotate data so that we can train. So if you are training AI, it tells you something. AI cannot in any way be smarter than you. Now, the reason why AI seems smarter than you is because it aggregates. So it collects the brain, the expertise, the skill of you and I, billions of people around the world. And so it has a brain of billions of people. That is why it appears smarter. But know that, don't live with the fear, don't live with the addiction of AI. You must realize you are needed, you are valuable. Yes. That's the first thing. That's how you prepare. You have to have that mindset. The second, foundation. So if those people trained their replacement, it means there's something in there. They can't replace them all of a sudden. They need data to replace them, right? And many of us at work right now, they will say, oh, we've developed one AI chatbot. If we have answer, if you have questions, go there. It will assist you. What we don't know is that we're already training our replacements, right? So bear that at the back of your mind. The second way you prepare as a professional is not just saying, oh, now I'm going to start a new career in AI because it seems that's where the world is leading. That's where everyone is going. That is probably the wrong move. Another mega trend would come. Yes. You think there's nothing greater. There will be. Another mega trend would come and AI would, take the back seat. But yes, don't hurry and go and change your entire career, change your entire path to AI. No. One thing you should start getting is something that differentiates you from an AI. Judgment, context. AI doesn't have it. So if you are working at a business right now, understand the context of your business, understand the context of that industry, understand the context of the client, understand the context of how, what's it called? Money is generated, how the business makes money. AI does not have that. If you have context, you are valuable. The business will keep you. All right? Judgments. So you cannot remain, we are shifting from what AI replaces quite easily is administrative tasks, operations that are quite simplified. So if that is what you currently do, it's okay. You are fulfilling a need. But understand that real soon, an AI will be trained to fulfill that need because it's more like the simplest level of tasks. So people are moving to what makes them more valuable. And judgment is one of it. So you must be able to think. Many professionals I've seen, they've suspended their thinking because AI now exists. If there's any time you must be smarter, more intellectual, more knowledgeable, it is now. Yes, because we need judgment. AI can't give that. All right. So those two things, lean into them, be better at it so that you can be more valuable to any business or even any corporation. The third way you can prepare as a professional, and I'll wrap it up with this, is do some research and plan, have a runway. So I'd explain. If you're in marketing right now, you are in product design, whatever field you have, you've got to sit down and do a research of how is AI impacting your industry and your role in particular. What tools are being used? What adaptations are being used? What direction are companies in your industry taking? How will your role evolve in the next near future or in the next couple of years, long term? Begin to upskill in that direction. So it's not that you abandon marketing and then all of it become an AI professional. It's that how would I leverage using AI to be a better marketer or product designer? So that is the research you have to sit down with and start. So you can't do it overnight. You've got to start planning yourself that, okay, in the next couple of months, the next 1 year, I've upskilled to this point that I'm not dispensable in my industry. That is exactly what to do.
Wow. Thank you really for that.
Yeah.
I think three major things that you mentioned that I took note of. What you need to do first is to understand context, for every solution you're offering, right? Whatever you're doing now, start checking, all those tasks you've been doing, the, high level skills that are demanded right now, but you need to understand context. Like we all know, AI doesn't have emotions. I mean, it can't really understand what's got the emotion to pass across. So you need to get that. I think you also mentioned something around research.
Judgment.
Yeah,
and
judgment
research.
and research. So I think those three things, you have to know them and work on them, right? Even me, every day I keep, okay, what area of my task can I automate, right?
Yeah.
Then I put that then, high level thinking, because every one of us, we have to really, AI has come for us. I heard a podcast during, I think some couple of days ago. I was talking about photographer, how that
Okay. Yeah.
portrait pictures.
I think I listened to that. I heard that.
Yeah. So a lot of things like career you'll be building for 5 years.
Yeah. All of a sudden doesn't mean anything again.
So
Yeah.
it has come to stay.
Yeah.
We just need to brace up and keep learning. I think that's a major thing. Keep
Mhm.
learning. All right. Thank you so much for that response. Something tied a bit to that is, yeah, there is this thing around global, local, being a global professional. Yeah, we keep hearing that. Even we know you as a global professional, right? So, what does it take to actually move from being a local to global? Maybe 3 steps, or maybe a model or something like that you can give us.
Okay.
Yeah.
What does it take?
What does step look like? Okay, 1, 2, 3 steps.
Would I say there is a singular one way? I think I'm going to tell you immaterial things and actual steps.
Okay.
So immaterial things, literally audacity.
Yeah.
You have to believe, I've met a lot of professionals. Some of them, they are probably one of the best at what they do, but they have no confidence in their expertise. And when you say, you can walk in, they look like me.
Wow.
I'm like, they are human beings working there. You probably are better than them. They're like, they don't think much about the value they provide or what they give or how they can find themselves in such corporation or organization. They don't just think much about it. So that's one thing I would first start. So something immaterial, yeah, but really, really crucial, because I could tell you all of the steps now, and you still really don't think yourself as a global talent. You would still not get there. So I'm going to say this directly to every young professional Nigerian. You are valuable. You are valuable. And think of yourself as global. Think of yourself as international. Think of yourself knowing that any space you enter, big or small corporation, you can solve a problem. That mindset maybe probably solves half of the problem and gets you on the pathway to actually intentionally building a global career. Yeah. So we've got to stop thinking small. I'll give you an example. So the first time I was I'd never worked in corporate. I'd never had a job. I'd been running a business back in 2020. COVID hit, my business crashed. And you would think I should go and take a job at the next small business around me. But I was like, no, I have what it takes. I was running a small business by myself. I said, I must have gained what it takes. I have what it takes to work for an international organization. If I didn't have that thought, I wouldn't even look for the job. Neither will I think I can compete for the job. It probably was not the most perfect setting. I would travel from the small village or town where I was, put generator in my boat, and go and have interviews in the nearest town because I needed a better network. And I was there thinking I could work for a global corporation. I think it starts from the mind. We've got to stop thinking small. You are valuable. Yeah? That's the first thing. Now, practical steps to building a global career. First of all, you have to understand global corporations and what is important to them. See, unlike what we used to know, maybe what we saw our parents do having a job where it didn't really matter if they were productive or not, solving a problem or not. Global corporations, they care about that. They're going to look at you and say, will this person contribute to our bottom line? If you're not going to bring in value in any kind of way, they're not doing you any favors. and they don't believe in potentials. They believe in results. So if I were you, I would sit down and literally start to document and intentionally ensure that I'm getting results wherever I am right now. Either I'm running a business or I am working for a local employer. I'm going to be very intentional, because many of us, we do jobs because we want to survive. We are not intentional about giving business outcomes to our employers. And if you do not have documented outcomes, business value, no global employer will actually employ you. So you've got to think about that. Intentionally giving businesses outcomes, like results, contributing to bottom line. That has to be important to you, and you start documenting it. Not I carry buckets. In the past, when we write CVs, we used to write every day. I write reports, and then what did that mean? When you wrote the report, did you make more money? Did you save more money? Did errors? Did the team productivity increase? What happened? So global businesses care about your outcomes. That you must also care about. Also, presenting yourself as a global talent is another thing. So you've got to have a brand. You have to have a brand. You cannot show up as just every other person. You have to show up as the talent, because some of these decisions, you have to understand that they are being made by humans. So you have a great resume. You probably have great results at what you do. You are probably skilled, but you showed up and then you can't speak, you can't express yourself well. You cannot answer a question directly. You'll be surprised how many people cannot answer questions. Like, I'm talking about full-grown adults and professionals. You ask a question and they cannot answer a question properly. Yes, it's a struggle. So you've got to be that person who can express himself, deliver a sentence, a thinking, a perspective, do all of those, you know. Thirdly, you have to know the tools they use. Especially for remote careers, you have to understand that you're not showing up physically. So it's not like you're sweeping floor as a business responsibility, or is that you're working with tools. And we're not talking about laptop, physical hardware. We're talking about software. So you've got to start building your tech stack. I remember I got a job one time, and when I opened my dashboard, when I worked, I saw 27 platforms. I said, hey, why is only me having 27 platforms on my dashboard? To tell you what happened. So they leverage on tools. That's how you will work. So you've got to start building yourself. I was like, 27. Okay. I know 3. Let's start building the rest. Okay. So that's something you have to be intentional about. And tools come, tools go. Today, this one will be rainy. They will adopt another one. Every day when we wake up, every quarter, we adopt new tools at work. So it is about you being tech savvy, you being eager to learn, moving from beginner to intermediate real quick. Nobody's asking you to be a pro in everything. And you'll be overwhelmed with tools anyway. Also, certifications are a thing. Of course, experience trumps certifications, but it's a thing. If you're saying global standard, also gain global certifications. Those are important. But yes, prioritize experience. That's really the way.
Oh, cool. Really cool. I think the major thing, which was the first thing you mentioned for me, is the audacity. For me, I think that comes with a lot of self-awareness, right? Because if you only know what you carry until you come to that realization. So, and she's already addressed us Nigerians that we carry a lot. We have talented people, notwithstanding whatever we're hearing or is going on the internet. But I think you need to first build that self-confidence and be audacious enough. You change your thinking, step out of your comfort zone. I mean, to your friends, if you point out, you can count like 4 fools around you or guys that are not doing well. Obviously, you should be the 5th. So I think that's very needed. Then now start looking at other things, which she mentioned around learning. You have to learn, unlearn. Obviously, you have to unlearn some things, learn new tools, right? You don't know the environment you want to enter or go into, get accustomed with what is required. And then you start, what's called putting yourself in that path, like you mentioned, you have to show up also, show up intentionally, strategically, and then, I can actually go into just recapping or giving, but personally, I have a lot of these things already in my head, and I think I started looking at some of the things I need to also adjust, personally speaking. And thank you so much for all of that. Yeah. Building, I want us to go a bit deeper into this now. And it goes to more visibility. I want to speak on a bit about that. And I'm going to go back to, I think somewhat about 2 years ago, we had a bit of conversation. I think that was the first time I really have a proper conversation with you like that. You know, and it was after a service in church, and then more like something around brand strategy. That was when I guess you mentioned something that day. Let me just make it brief. That you want to position Dami as a global brand, like irresistible brand. Like when somebody hears the name Dami or see Dami, you know, something like it's just a brand, really.
I think the word I used was
Yeah.
first name brand.
Yeah.
You know that when you mention opera, you're
Yeah,
not thinking
yeah.
of the one beside your house.
Yeah.
There's only one opera.
You know, definitely. Yeah. So that stuck with me. Even when, as I was preparing for this podcast, in the space of 2 years, the visibility online, LinkedIn, Instagram, and not just that alone, the result I felt, of course, you've trained quite a number of people, hundreds of professionals, gotten jobs, earning in hard currency, and all that. How were you able to achieve all that? I don't know. Just give us something brief to be
in a single conversation.
How really?
And I wonder when people answer this question, because I've never had an answer to this question before. You know, oh, how did you get here? Where you're coming? I'm like, do they know? The people you're asking. But here, three things are coming to my mind because really, I don't think one can answer this question, because sometimes one even has to sit and reflect on what worked, and what you found in yourself that played a role in that. Because you may not really know it. But right now, as we're here, I can think of maybe three things. I'm going to start with the first one that people always put last. A lot of Jesus. A lot of Jesus. A lot of Jesus. Number one, you need a lot of Jesus. And when I use the word a lot, like, is Jesus plenty? I'm like, you get what I mean? You need a lot of faith. So that, for me personally, faith is one of the bedrock of, I literally just anchor all of my big ambitions on Jesus. I'm like, you were one of the greatest guys that lived. This cannot even be bigger than what you did. This is probably half of quarter or a mini drop in an ocean of who you were.
But he also told us that greater what we would do.
You know, I should remind myself of that often, right? So, a lot of Jesus. The second thing that I know that I've explored is audacity. And the third thing I know is maybe it's now 4, right? Audacity, and I will explain. I'll go deep a bit deeper into that. The third thing I know is the word is not visibility. Would I call it personal brand? Like saying it's I was telling my assistant the other day, we were listening to a program, right? And they were reading people's bio. And I was telling her that, did she know who wrote the bio? She was like, I was like, the people wrote the bio by themselves. Imagine somebody, give me an example, somebody saying, world class, number 1 in 17 countries. The guy wrote the bio. Nobody writes people's bio by them. So you would say, please send across your bio. And the guy sat down. These folks sat down and they wrote all these great and wonderful things about themselves on a paper. And that is what is being read. That is what they didn't believe. That is what is being heard. That is what is being spread. So that brings me to what you say. Either you believe it or you don't. I'm hoping that you do. Most people, a lot of people do. What you say about yourself is as important, like probably the most important. If you say I'm a global professional, people are going to keep repeating that you're a global professional. If you say I'm the best photographer existing in Southwest, that's what people will keep calling you. So branding, it's one of the most important things that you can tell yourself. Like we're reading Erin Burns, like, This guy sat down, he literally called himself the best. I'm like, really, really outstanding, like exceptional achievement and all those things they call it themselves because nobody wrote it. They wrote it by themselves and they shared it with the host of the program. So it's a powerful tool. Sitting down and saying, this is who I am, this is what I do. It's something that it cannot be undermined.
Wow.
And then the third thing is going to be grit. The fourth, I meant grit.
Fourth, yeah.
Grit. And I'll define grit. It's literally that emotional, mental, and intellectual power and capacity to keep going despite odds, despite challenges, despite blockers or barriers, disappointment. That is, it forms one of the backbone of how I would say I run my life. And this is not even really about building what we currently, I don't even think I scratched the surface. And it may sound like a cliche, but I feel like we're all just still rehearsing here. But generally in life, that is what I would say, take a major place in how I drive things. I would usually say this to some of the people closest to me, very intelligent people, like, you people are the intelligent ones. Me, what I have is agidi. I have this grit. Is it the problem? We will solve this problem. What's the problem, Seth? There's a solution. We're going to solve this problem and we're going to move forward. That is one thing I have. And I realize it can't be found on the street. I realize it's not common. I'm always grateful for it. It also fits my energy. It fits into a lot of things that how I drive. I'm like, we can do it now. Let's do it. We can do it. So those 4 things I'd say have played a role. But if I were to break it down to something practical and useful to our listeners, interestingly, they can all be learned and gotten and acquired. Even if you were born with a separate personality, you can have grit irrespective of your personality. You can have audacity irrespective of your personality. That's the good news here, I believe. You can have, you can build a personal brand that is strong, say things about yourself that is spread across, and you would even become that person. So maybe you were saying it in faith as a future. How we say vision statements in businesses. We say our vision to become number one something in Africa. You're not yet there. But maybe as you said it, you want to, aspire and grow to it, right? So that's why it's important what you say when you're building your brand. Like, say the number one, say it. It's so important, very important. So it can be learned, it can be acquired. You can trust God for it. You can believe God for it. And Jesus is available for everyone. That one is free, right? So you can get all of this. It helps to start from where you are. I think that's the key. A lot of people, I see a lot of people when I converse with them, they don't know where to start. They don't know, they are looking for something missing to start with. I'm like, no, you already have what you used to start. Each time I've changed my life and turned my life around, I didn't do it with money or with connections or with anything. I started with what I had, where I was in that moment. And it's so important to start with that and just believe that you can keep moving forward. So that helps.
Absolutely cool. Let me put it that way. So cool. And starting with Jesus is everything for me, really. And that's what this podcast is also founded in, right? We are rock solid, rooted in faith, right? And I think that has to be something for everyone out there to take home, right? You have to believe in something, really. Something has to be working for you that can anchor every other thing. And I like the way you put that. And then talking about audacity, right? Audacity with grit. I put that two together, right? Nigerians, we know they carry last, to be honest. To be honest, no matter, whatever you're going through, there's no how you want to become a success in life without experiencing some failures here and there, right? It has to be there. There will be blockers. No matter, you just have to, nobody will put my back on the ground. So, and I like, to be honest, I think I will have to go back and work on myself in that regard. Mentioning someone can sit down, curate their own bio. It's more like something like a confession I was saying the other time, right? You call yourself a global brand, a global person, then call it every day, say it, put it everywhere, paste it everywhere.
That's what everybody will say.
I think that's very important, really important. Thank you so much for sharing all that. And I'm going to connect this to stay on visibility and personal branding and all of that. for somebody like me, I
Mm.
try to express my creativity in different areas.
Mm.
And somehow I can be called jack of all trades,
Mm.
you know, but to be honest, I think I have mastery of most of those things.
Mm.
Really, I'm getting to master them. So I want to ask in terms of, oh, you hear people say, post your work,
Mm.
share your work, share it anyhow. It
Mm.
doesn't have to be all perfect. You know, you refine it along the way and
Mm.
all of that. You know, show up every day, every time, everywhere. Let me put it that way. So what's your recommendation? What do you think about being a generalist and then being a specialist in terms of personal branding? In this online space thing we're talking about.
In terms of personal branding and visibility,
Yeah.
I've always believed this, and I stand to be corrected.
Yeah.
If no matter how multi-affiliated you are, you always have your core dominant expression and gift. Always. Everybody has it. Every multi-person has it. So I'd say invest in that one, express that one, explore that one, grow that one, give it a voice, let it find full expression, because no matter how, you still have that very dominant expression, you know. So that's the first. But yeah, when you're just starting out, express everything.
Yeah.
I'd say express everything. Here is the caution. The caution is your energy and your time, your money, literally all of your resources, they are finite. They are finite. Yeah. So this is where prioritization comes in. Imagine if I wanted to express myself in 10 different ways. How is it possible that I will... There's something called the law of focus, which is a very, very strong law that a lot of young people ignore. How is it possible that I'm going to do wonderfully and excellently well in all those 10 expressions? But this is just me expressing myself. So you can start, because if you do not start, when we're talking about personal brand and visibility, if you do not start, you would never start. So you can start based on what you know. When I was building my personal brand, I remember after a couple of months, I would just set up a camera. I didn't even know what I was going to talk about. I didn't know if I was going to niche anywhere or anything. And this message, so just start and express whatsoever. The topic you want to talk about, anything you want to, see how it goes, see where it carries you. So I used to talk about many things. Anything that I felt like deserves a conversation is in my mind. I'll set up a camera and talk about it. Some I recorded and never posted. Some I posted. I didn't care what you labeled me as. What does she even talk about? Is it investment talk about? Is it women? Is it... I didn't really care. Remember, someone I respected woke up to me like about 3 months after I started talking online and starting to make myself visible. I'm like, hey, I like what you're really doing, but what's real about? Where are we heading at? I was like, all of us will find out together. That was the response I gave. I said, you and I would find out together. And it was like, you don't know. I said, I don't know what I'm doing. Do you think I do? I have no idea. And that you must be comfortable in not knowing. You must be comfortable in not knowing. It's very okay not to know. It's very okay to explore and find out yourself. So, and that is the power. As you are exploring, as you're testing, as you're expressing yourself, you would find where you have the most strength, what gives you the most joy. You will find what your audience even wants to hear from you about. You would find what the market responds to. You would find many things. And then you'll be able to position yourself in a particular way. Again, when you arrive at a place where you have chosen a space or a topic or a brand or a personality, never glue yourself to it. I was introducing myself and I said, right now, currently, this is what I am. So that tomorrow, say, I thought she was. I am that person who is always ready to pivot. I found out really, a couple of years ago that it doesn't matter how you get to your destination. As long as you get there, people will not be asking you what you do. They will just say, this person is successful. God knows how many businesses Aliko Dangote does. We know him with cement and sugar, but I'm sure that guy does a lot of businesses, and before he arrived at this place, he must have tried his hands on a lot of things. And people don't really care again. He's Aliko. That's what matters.
The name.
The guy builds businesses that are successful. So that is what you want. So your outcome should not change. Where you are reaching, where you are going, the goals should not change. So I don't have goals. Don't set goals like I want to be the number one HR professional. No. That goal has boxed you. You can say, you in any space you are, you want to be the leading voice. That is what you should say. So your goal will remain the same, but be flexible with your means. So that is to say, even if you are already known for something right now, if you feel a strong need to pivot, please do. Please do. Because you are more than a single thing, really. Yeah. So that is what I would say about generalists and specialists, about personal brand. You really just have to give yourself some grace and be as open-minded. So allowing yourself to see your own power. Yes. Yeah. Allow yourself to see your own power.
Yeah. Wow. That's so cool, really. To be honest, if you don't start, you will not know what you are capable of. You can do. You really won't be able to figure that out.
Yeah.
That's why it's advisable. Just anything, just do it anyhow. I've had people reached out to me. Hey, how are you doing this? How are you doing this? And I know such persons that they are good at this thing, but they are just not confident in themselves to just start.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's very important. You don't need any other motivation. Just go over this video, pay attention to all these details, and begin somewhere. Put everything together. You don't have to figure it out. You figure it out in the process.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, really. This is also a good point for you. If you're not subscribed to this podcast, please subscribe. Click the subscribe button right now. Like it so that the algorithm can show it to more people. And of course, don't forget to share with someone. And let's have your feedback as well. Comments. What's maybe something that provoke your thoughts, something already shared with us, and we need to have your feedback. Thank you very much.
And there's a saying, before we conclude that topic, there's a saying that they say you can only improve what you've done, what you do. So many people want to get better, get excellence, get perfection when they've not laid their hands on it. I'm like, you've not done it. How can you possibly be better at it?
So perfectionist, that's for you, really. Oh, that's cool, really. So thank you for staying tuned to the end of this first part of the conversation. I hope you've picked up something valuable already. This is not all. The concluding part drops in a few days. See you in the next one. Thank you. Bye for now.